And so I literally went through each letter and I said, what can I take out from each letter that I can connect with manifestation? So I literally, so the first letter of the Hebrew is Aleph. So I'm like, what is it about Aleph that I can extract? Okay. Aleph is the place of all possibilities and thoughts where, it's the projection of creation, right? Aleph is that first breath into existence, right? So that's the first manifestation that if you want to manifest anything, it's what is the thought? What is the intent? That's Aleph, right? So I started extracting each of those letters and I started to see, based off of what I was studying, that I can now craft this into a system that you can use anywhere for anything, whether it's spirituality, relationships, career, you name it. Universal principles work anywhere. And so I recognized that through my studying of the Bible and through the decoding of the Hebrew letters that I can now, how can I bring it in a more simpler version? Because sometimes these things are too mystical for people that no matter how much they hear it, it's just hard to understand. So I'm
Sometimes
like,
it
how
goes
can I bring
right over their head, right?
it goes right off their head. So I just
Yeah.
but I just said, how can I bring the best of both worlds where people can get the spiritual and the practical? So I would say if you want to start my journey from when I wrote the book, because that helped a lot, I would say 10 years, 9 years. But there was, as I said, it was sequence. Like new insights eventually got to where I am now, where I can share it. So I hope that makes sense.
Like in
Mm-hmm.
the book
It's
of
true.
Eli,
It's true.
the movie, the book of Eli, he said the Bible is a double-edged sword because it offers people hope, but simultaneously keeps them under control. It's a double-edged sword.
Mm. And that's why I felt compelled to use the very same thing that has caused people fear and control to bring liberation. And that's why I talk about the Bible being spiritual technology once you decode it,
Hmm.
right? Because they coded the book. So on the
Yes.
surface, when you read it, and not even just on surface, because even if you read it on surface from an open mind, you'll see a lot more stuff that they don't even teach you just from reading what's there with an open mind.
It's
But they taught us
layers.
how to be closed with what's yes.
Yeah.
They taught us how to be closed with it. So even though you're reading something that's clearly telling you like the truth, hello, but because you were conditioned to look at it a certain way, you will look at it and read it and be like, nope, it doesn't mean that. Nope.
Uh,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I purposefully wanted to take the very same book that has caused a lot of fear and control and say, hey, if you read it and decode it properly, you'll see that it's an activation book. You'll see it is a book of awakening. You will see that it's a book of manifestation. You will see that everything that it's talking about in the book, it's talking about you. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. When you read that, you would think it has nothing to do with you. But when you decode it, you begin to say, wait a minute, it's talking about me in my head. In the beginning means inside the head, right? So you then realize that inside the head was what created everything. So you being in the image and likeness of God, you can create too. Like you see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna use the same book to bring that liberation and healing to the nations and to the people. So I know that's definitely part of my walk. So
Ready to rock? We got Jordan LaRose here live in the studio. We had
Jordan
a
Rose. It's Jordan
Jordan
Jordan Rose. Yeah, LA is my middle initials.
LA. I like that. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. We had a brief intro call. You told me about your dream manifestation model, which you're currently in the process of branding and just changing the marketing on that. You're an author and a life purpose coach and the founder of Dreamers Nation, where the your motto is where your dreams come alive. On Brain Magazine, I believe you were interviewed on that, and I found some beautiful literature I'd just like to read off that sums up your career quite beautifully. Your life purpose coach who's passionate about seeing people find their purpose in life so that they can fulfill their dreams. In the pursuit of your dreams, you quickly recognized a problem when you conversed with people from different age groups and backgrounds. Through talking to various people, you noticed that they had no expectations for their future. You heard from individuals who did not know what they were meant to be or felt that it was too late to become anything. The devotion to see people live a purpose-filled life inspired you to write your first book called Code 245, which I'm looking forward to hearing more about, and the secrets to unlocking your purpose, and to start a business called Dreamers Nation. Since then, you helped multiple business professionals, entrepreneurs, and various others accomplish their life goals through the principles found in the book and through Dreamers Nation. Mark Sanborn, he quoted once, "Integrity is measured by the distance between your lips and your life." And a quote from you, "Your ability is enough. It was assigned by heaven." Saw that on your Instagram, and I just blown away by that.
Wow.
It was assigned by heaven. Like that's enough. Purpose. Purpose is huge.
Huge.
It's
Absolutely.
huge. And that's one of the things that I noticed on my own path is for so long I felt unfulfilled because I was put in positions or I felt the job just there had to be more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
people would
Right. For
rather
sure.
walk away from a job if the environment isn't it's not about the money a lot of times. If the environment
Right.
is just not suiting,
Right.
they'll
Right.
walk away, you know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. Like you said, like I feel like I'll say this. Purpose is, I'll say it this way, because in my mind, everything, a lot you said, so my mind is going through different avenues of saying of what I'm trying to say now. I think purpose is so important that when we don't tap into why our soul came here, you see, and I think I said, I don't know if I said it in our other introduction. I don't know if I said it before, but I believe the reason why a lot of issues are happening in the world today is because most people don't know what their purpose is. There was a study or a statistic that showed that 98% of people die never fulfilling their dreams.
That
So if
high.
it's that high. So now I don't know to which context they did like the the study or how far and wide they did it, but based off of all the people that participated, like all the information they collected, 98% die. So if we were to even put that towards the entire world, like if we were to use that same statistic for nine, that means 98% of people are gonna breathe their last breath, never knowing, or if they did know, never fulfilling their purpose. So that for me blew me away. Like, and like you said with the jobs, a lot of people hate their jobs, but they're there because that's the only form of purpose, if you will, or only form of making ends meet that they know. There's no other way to live the life that they're meant to live because this is the programming, you know. So when I found out that 98%, it even gave more passion to say, yo, I want to be a part of bringing that number down. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
What is there, 7 billion people on the planet? 98% of that?
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a bit of a number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that means there's a lot of work to do. And you know, and I think that's why even when I wrote my book, the term Dreamers Nation came to my mind as I was writing. And at first I thought, okay, is this a t-shirt? Is this what is this? What is what is this Dreamers Nation? So I'm beginning to realize that I'm here to awaken the Josephs of our generation who are going to be the ones to go beyond their families, go beyond the norm, and tap into their dreams. And not just tap into it, but actually fulfill it for the benefit of others. Because if you look at the story of Joseph, he became what he was supposed to be, and it helped a nation. It even helped his family, all the surrounding people that were struggling because he was fulfilling his purpose. They benefited from his gift as a dreamer. And so I know I'm that dreamer, and I'm here to help people really tap into who they're meant to be and what they're meant to do. So
Yeah.
its purpose is everything for me. So
You shared a bit of your story, of your personal journey with your pops and
mm,
the vision that you had. And I came
mm,
across a podcast last night where this woman was just walking through the forest and connecting with nature. And nature is its own therapy in and of itself.
mm.
I've been wanting to for so long, just put my feet in the water and just spend time in nature. Time slows down. It's like its own dimension. It's like a
Right.
portal outside of
Yeah.
the matrix. And
Yeah.
she was explaining about the whole chosen ones concept, right?
Mm,
There's
mm,
nothing
mm,
necessarily special about chosen ones. It's just that they chose to maybe uh, break because epigenetics, what is it?
mm,
20, something like 20 to 30 um, of our generations, like we store that trauma
mhm,
from the
mhm.
lineage in our genetics, and they chose to break that, do something different, and become
Right,
as
right.
close with this. Like we're all, that's the thing about separation. We think we're separated, but if you put an ice cube in a glass of water, it just
Ah,
becomes
become
part of its
right,
original, right?
right,
So
right.
the refinement process,
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, I think
nature, man.
the chosen, I, it's an interesting topic because I think some people who use the term chosen ones think that others are not chosen. And I think there's a Bible scripture that says that many are called, but few are chosen. So when I look at that type of verbiage or that type of saying, I look at there are many. Let's put it this way: every single person on earth is called,
Called for a
right?
purpose.
Or else we wouldn't be here. We you, there's nothing in nature that doesn't serve a purpose. Nothing. There's nothing that just exists with no meaning behind it,
Yeah.
right? So the fact that all of us are here, we've been called. We whether we've agreed to the call or whatever the case is, that's up for discussion. But the fact that we're all here means there's some type of purpose or some type of blueprint that we're meant to express, right? But the chosen ones are one of two things. Either they became chosen before they came here, so that's why they came back to do something, or people become chosen through their experience being here to then answer whatever call they're meant to be. So I think a chosen person is, to me, is someone who's cultivated the energy or the process, if you will, to do what they're meant to do and be what they're meant to be. Especially if there's a divine blueprint that they already agreed to fulfill before they got here. They now are actually walking through that journey to do it as opposed to choosing not to. So that's how I see the chosen folks,
Yeah.
certain souls who've cultivated the whatever you want to call it, energy, the consciousness, to be able to do what they're doing now. So
I'm just having some technical difficulties right
no
now,
worries.
so s- audio is still coming through clear though. So let's
Yes,
see.
very clear.
Yeah. Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, I'll figure something out. It's time for some upgraded equipment anyways. We're live in the
Yes, yes.
studio, live and on the seat. That's the thing about being a business owner. You have to be able to multitask and
Right.
adapt. That's a friend of mine saw a fox recently. So naturally,
Hmm.
he looked into the spiritual significance of that, and they're what is it? They're very sharp and adaptable, and they blend
Hmm.
in and they know when to show themselves. And
Hmm.
what there's yeah, um, sec here. Okay. Uh, so code 245.
Yes.
What was the inspiration behind that? Because you said some of your greatest um greatest sparks came when you were in the washroom of all places. It's fantastic.
I would I would say washroom, I would say music, I would say I've also had some jobs where I was driving a lot. So I think also the driving allowed me to you know think and come up with certain things. So I think it's a combination of those things, but for sure I would say those probably would be the three, or anywhere in my house really where I have my time to myself. Um, but in terms of Code 245, I would say it's sparked. Well, it's a couple things. So I think the first thing would be that there's I would say there's a couple variables. So I think the first one I would say I wanted to create a book to walk people through the process of transformation, of how to go from the mundane, the constant loop of the matrix, if you will, towards the journey of becoming who they're meant to be in a nutshell. So I wanted people to be able to tap into their creativity, to be able to go from that loophole, or that loop, I should say, into the freedom of expression of who they're meant to be, right? So that was the first part of it. And I would say the second part was the studying of the ancient Hebrew language, where I wanted to give some concepts in the book through that to also help them on the journey.
So
And then I
did
would say go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just wondering if the spiritual technology that you decoded and deciphered through the Hebrew language in the Bible, did that come as a prequel to the inspiration for the book? Like did you merge the two?
I would say the term spiritual technology came afterwards, but in terms of decoding the Hebrew, I would say it's part of the book. But because I kept studying, I eventually saw the decoding as spiritual technology later on. But the concept of decoding the Hebrew is in the book
Got it.
according to certain verses of the Bible that I use, and I would break down the Hebrew in the book to show you how it relates to your journey. So that was still there, but I didn't know it was called spiritual technology at the time that I wrote it
Yeah.
until until later on. So it's in there, but I'm at a much higher, I guess, understanding of it being spiritual technology now as to when I first wrote the book. So
Like a hawk's eye view now. The further you
oh
go in, the
yes,
more you see.
now
Yeah.
it's like whoo, it's like oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
spiritual, and then I would say the third um point that helped me to start the book was I had a dream, and so I think this is where it initially made me start writing the book. Like this was the go to start writing. So I had a dream, and I wrote the dream in the book, and but I didn't go into detail about what I'm about to say now. But the dream basically showed me that I was supposed to go inside a prison, and the prison was the church, but I had to go through the prison to get to the door 245. Someone gave me a number and say, "Go here inside, go through this door. This is the door to your purpose." So now, now we fast forward. I'm using the Bible, decoding the Bible. It's still Christian in a sense, but I had to go through that door to realize what I need to do now in terms of now taking the Bible that was used for fear control and now flip it and use it for freedom and liberation. So that's the door, right? But I didn't know that then, but I
Didn't
know
know
that
that
now.
then. Hindsight's 2020, right? I love how you flip the script in that sense, because one of the things that we had discussed on our previous call was that many people's hearts have been hardened because of the manipulation the indoctrination and the dogmatic approach that religion takes, where they create the savior externally, where the original Christ was the sovereign freedom found within our own divinity. I love how
Hmm.
you I love how your whole mission is sort of focused around that with the spiritual
Hmm.
technology aspect. It's beautiful.
But that's what Jesus did, and that's why he was hated by the religious people of that time. And throughout my journey, I've had many people prepare me to say the same similar thing is going to happen. You're going to have people in that circle when I start bringing stuff out like this out. I'm going to get the same thing. And sure enough, when I started, I got the same thing. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're evil. Or all those comments I got because it's coming against the programming that we many of us have been taught to defend. Right? That's what Jesus did. He was teaching people about the Christ within, and he said, "Follow me." Or in order for you to get to the Father, the source, you get through me. He wasn't saying to start a religion.
He was
He was saying,
speaking
I'm a,
for the Christ. Yeah, you have to
you
follow
understand?
Christ. Yeah.
And I'm showing you the Christ. So if you follow me, you're going to follow the Christ. you're going to the same thing I'm doing, you're going to do. He even said, take my yoke. He's like a Hebrew concept that most people don't know. Uh, he said, take my yoke. He said, for my yoke is easy and the burden is light. There's a Hebrew concept of agriculture where the older ox was yoked with a younger ox. And so what they did is to train the younger oxes, they lined them up with an older, experienced ox so that the younger ox would learn how to manage the burden with the experienced ox. So he's saying, take my yoke because I'm the experienced ox that you can leverage. So the burden is going to be easy for you, right? The yoke is going to be easy for you because I've walked through it already and I'm going to walk it with you, right? So just those Hebrew concepts, most people won't see that, right? And he said all the people who he wanted to be yoked to wasn't, oh, you had to believe in him. He said, all of you who are heavy burdened, all of you that need that rest, come to me. So it wasn't like, oh, you had to necessarily believe. If you just needed help on your journey, he's saying, come. That's all it, but it got turned into this whole thing that he never intended. So
Yeah. The history of Christianity has quite the background to it, turning it into sun worship and the man on the cross. And he was a
yeah.
master of hyperboles. Something that I'm learning recently too is one of the best ways to teach is through experiences. Teach what changed your life because it's not enough to know the
Mm,
facts.
mm,
That just
mm,
proves intelligence, right?
mm,
But
mm,
experience, learned wisdom, it speaks for
mm.
itself. It's an entire energetic language. It's the
It's
proof.
true. It's true. And I think and I also think that knowledge is supposed to shape your experience, and not just puff you up intellectually, but it should be planted within to allow you to go through those experiences that make it real. And I think that's what happened to me when studying the ancient Hebrew language. At first, there was a curiosity and a passion to know more because as you know, I grew up in church. So there was no I didn't know about this stuff where I am now. The spiritic technology. If we were to use that term back in the day, that'd probably be some like demonic or,
They would
or
say
new age.
that's
You know
blas.
what I mean?
Yeah, I've had people say that to me before. It's like that's blasphemy, and
Yeah.
and stuff. And someone else said they're going to crucify you for that. And I looked at him and I said they don't do that anymore.
Did did
They don't do that anymore. Well,
it's true.
spiritually, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of the
yeah.
point.
You know? So I'm just like, but what happened was I was planting the seeds of that wisdom of the ancient Hebrew, and that's when my eyes began to open. I began to see things. I began to realize, wait a minute, this doesn't say this. Wait a minute. And then it's like more information started coming to help me on the journey to even be able to write the book, to be able to even start Dreamers Nation, to be able to be that spiritual coach, that purpose-filled coach. It was a process, that led me to where I am now. And so the knowledge should shape and change you and not just use it to be puffed up or just to say, oh, I know this, but is it changing you, and so that's
Yeah.
why I want to share the change and what I've experienced too. So
It's there's a Bible verse that says, "If thine eye be single, thy body will be full of light." It's
full of
talking
light.
about the third eye, because there's a Spanish mantra. You have three eyes, two to look and one to see. We see not with our eyes, we see through our eyes. The soul sees
Mm,
through the eyes. But when it
mm,
says that Mary witnessed his resurrection, they were
right.
actually talking about when he activated his Ka body, his Merkaba body, his light body. That
Yes.
was the
Yeah.
true resurrection, not some man that died and then
Nice.
resurrect, like his body's rotting and then he just comes back to life. That's a little bit
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
warped.
yeah. It's
Dark,
but
man. But a lot of metaphors, a lot of analogies,
yes,
in the
yes.
Bible.
It's and I think that's what the hardest thing is for many people, because I think before I realized they were a lot more of metaphors and symbolic stuff. You're taught to take it very literal, everything that it's saying, and that's why I keep stressing the ancient Hebrew language. For me personally, it was the bridge to begin to open the eye for me. That it for me, because I couldn't see, but I had a desire in my heart to say, I want more. I don't know what this more is, but I want more. So I felt like it was cleaning out the programming so that here could begin to open up. So what I've been reading all these years, I'm now seeing, oh, whoa, I never saw it say that before. And then just one thing led to another, and here I am now. So I already know. I've spoken to people. Trust me, I've spoken to a couple pastors, and anytime I mention certain things, it just the backlash is it's always the same. It's always the same. So it's okay.
So not much luck on the religious sector when you speak with pastors about that. There's no leniency in them
Well,
changing or
I think what I don't I've learned, I would say this, I've learned to test how far I can go with people, because it doesn't make sense giving your pearls to swine, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense having certain gems that are going to be treated like trash. So when I do have conversations with people like such as pastors or whoever, I test simple stuff. And that's why I use the ancient Hebrew language. Like that's my bridge. So most people know that the Bible's written in the Hebrew. But if I show them the different way of looking at the Bible through that, then I can tell, okay, they're rejecting it, so I can't even go further.
it's like
Or
a
they're open,
yeah,
and then I can give a little more. So
bridge
I
to
test it.
it's bridge to a gap in a greater or broader understanding. It's about
Absolutely.
uh, well, it comes down to respect of energy in one's time too, right? Because
Mm,
I'm very open-minded, so I fully am aware and understand the importance of that too, because sometimes I gotta pump the brakes when I'm talking with certain people. I'm not really a huge fan of small talk. I'll do it, but I
yeah.
wanna, like yourself, be surrounded with
Mm,
people that want to grow, want to learn, want to
right.
change, want to adapt, step into
Right.
their full power, what they're capable of, see the world for what it actually truly is, because the
Mm,
spiritual is the physical is a manifestation of the spiritual. And so imagine how
exactly.
much more beautiful the spiritual is,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. It's true. It's true. I'm just taking it in. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's frustrating. it can be frustrating
It can.
seeing what the world could be and the potential, and then taking a
Mm,
step back and trusting that it's unfolding divinely, right?
mm,
The people that are meant to hear the message, they'll always be drawn to it. That the
true,
universe
true,
delivers what people need. Always.
true,
That's how the
true.
algorithms work, and that's how real life works with the hermetic
Mm.
principle that like attracts like.
Like attracts like. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true because and I think I, I've learned and still would say I'm learning to vibrate on the level of what people have always been waiting for. What I mean by that is I noticed over the course of years when I would post stuff on social media platforms, I found myself I found myself trying to in a way imitate people that I was around, and it wasn't coming out as authentic. But I noticed as I began to be more authentic, that's when I was attracting the true soul aligned people, you know.
Yeah.
And like yourself, like I believe if I wasn't expressing myself in the way I was on on my platform, it wouldn't resonate with you. You wouldn't pick it up. It
Yeah.
would be like you would look at it, be like, okay, he's saying something cool, but it
Yeah.
just you would move on. But there's something there because I'm giving my authentic code, if you will,
Yeah.
right? My code 245, if you will. I'm giving my code, my authentic code, and as you said, it's attracting who it needs to attract for such a time.
It's
Each,
pulling in the right audience because there's a misconception that if you post at certain times or you have to be consistent with your posting, that's how the
yes.
algorithms work, and then the AI starts restructuring itself, and it's
Mm,
about energy, authenticity, because I've seen accounts that don't have a lot of posts, but they have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers. And then I've seen people that post
mm,
every day have very little, right? It depends
mm.
on their message and how authentic they are because it's I see the fine details with the,
That's true. That's true.
with a
And,
comb. You know what I mean?
and
And it
that's
energy
sorry.
doesn't
Go ahead. Go
lie.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Energy doesn't
Yeah, it's a
lie.
lot. Yeah.
So yeah, your energy it's that's what I saw. Like spiritual
Mm.
technology, passion, purpose. That's right up my alley. I want to talk to this guy.
And the man, everything just goes full circle, and it's because I've also been feeling I'm like, am I like me and my wife? I'm like, are we the only? And then we have like one or two friends who kind of think like us, but it's very small, and I'm like, are there other people out there? It's like it's like, that's how it feels because when you're so committed to growth, even it's not perfect. I'm not saying I get it right all the time, but I'm saying when you have this seeking, like you're constantly seeking for growth and transformation, you begin to see like all the people that you grew up with, it just changes, and it just kind of, it changes, so to be able to have conversations like this is refreshing, because it's like, okay. And I've been waiting. Oh, the camera. Oh, yeah, no, and I've been waiting for stuff like this, It's and so I would say I didn't did I mention about the dream? Yeah, I did. If I'll say it this way, let me say it this way. If I never left where I was after the dream that I had in 2018, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I would still be in the prison, but I wouldn't have gone through the door, right? I would not have been able to express my authentic self. And I would not be those videos you see there would not be posted. It may have other things would have been posted, but not those videos because I would have still be stuck, you know. So it's just the journey. You just see the journey that as I stepped out, even though I was in fear, even though I was scared, like what's going to happen, how's this going to work, I'm beginning to see, and I have to keep reminding myself, like you said, it's not about the algorithm, because I'm like I have to post every day. I gotta put like my mind, I have to keep reminding, no, the right people will come at the right time as you authentically show up
when
when you're supposed to show
when
up.
it's ready. Yeah, like a friend of
When
mine
you're ready.
encouraged me to start doing more personal stuff. I'm about working with like-minded people
Mm,
that that want to help change the world. And I look for quality, right? I'm a
Mm,
Virgo. I
mm.
like quality. I like refinement, but I'm
Yeah.
also
Oh,
got to
yes.
sit
I have some
back
Virgo. Yes.
and be reminded too that there's no such thing as perfection, and learn to
Yeah.
trust
Mm,
myself, trust the intuition. And that's the thing that I learned about myself through my own life as well, is that the corporate the corporate structure stifles creative process sometimes when there's too much restriction and too much rules. And that's
mm,
what I found was that, and more information is coming to me too, the more I take a step back, because we talked about the concept of spiritually surrendering as well.
mm,
So
mhm,
it was tough for me because I was posting other people's content, but I wasn't
mm,
getting a whole lot of views, right?
mhm, mhm,
And then I did the one video, and then it had 222 views, and I'm just like, angel numbers, angel numbers.
222.
222, the
I
triple, the
see them
trifecta,
every
right? The
day.
Holy Trinity,
Yes.
and energy. It changed.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
something I learned in business too is just because you can do everything, it doesn't mean that you should. Be
I have
careful.
to. Oh gosh. I have to
Energy.
learn.
Be
I
careful
have to
where you
learn
put your
that.
energy, right? Because
And I think that's why.
burnout is a thing too.
And I think that's why I experience certain. I experience burnout sometimes because I'm trying to do everything, and I'm Aquarius, so we stubborn. you know. Want it your way, this way, no other way.
Yeah.
So I especially when you know what needs to be done too, and it's not being done the way you want it to. But I think I'm learning to, I'm learning that I can't have my energy all over the place because, as you know, Aquarius are naturally, we want to do everything. We want to, especially that humanitarian energy. We just want to go out and just just save the world, save every, like, you know what I mean? You want to build the Noah's Ark and throw everybody in there. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of a meme that a friend of mine posted. It was just like all scatterbrained on a bike. And it
Yep,
said,
that's
I'm not coming back here. Shit, I forgot. I'm meant to be raising the vibe,
right.
help and save people, shift the transformation.
Yep.
And it turns around on the bike. It's just like, I can't leave this place yet. There's
Right.
there's a man known as the spiritual psychiatrist. His story is very similar to mine, and he found a
Mm.
method. So in the Bible, what is it? The Merkabah, Elijah, when he's on the chariot, that was
Ye-
apparently, you might
Yeah.
be able to shed some more light on it, but according to my understanding, is when he activated the Merkabah, and he was
Mm.
actually able to like fly, right, on the
Yes.
chariot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
he actually did that. He learned under some amazing mentors. He had
Wow.
the
Wow.
chance to leave Earth, this guy, and he came
Ooh.
back. His mission is huge.
He astral projected,
I don't think he astral
or he
projected.
physically
He
left.
physically was able to leave Earth, and he stayed. His goal is
Ooh.
to help 1 billion people, and he's diving into the Azure, like the forgotten heart chakra, the real grid, not what they like the real, not
Mm-hmm.
the tree of life, but the actual energy body,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm. The light body.
the light body. Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
how
Okay.
they teach it in the Jewish mysticism,
Mm.
it's not the full.
Yeah,
There's
I've heard of that. I've heard it's not. I
there's
heard
an
it's
they're
like
missing
yeah,
some
I've
of
heard
it,
it's not the
but
full.
it's
Yeah, I've
the
heard.
stuff that this guy is tapped into is amazing. That
Wow.
the
Wow.
light language that our DNA accepts.
Mm-hmm. The light codes. Yeah.
Wild, yeah, because he's into
Yeah.
morphogenetic sciences as well.
You know what's interesting? I don't know. I want to look more into the science portion of what I do too. I've been thinking about that too, like how to like I've looked up stuff, but I'm like I really want to know how to connect because the ancient Hebrew, what I learned is the each letter also is connected to the body as well too. So the principles of each letter are also showcasing how the body scientifically works as well too. There's even a book called The God Code, and
Yes.
they've proven that the Hebrew letters are the elements on the periodic table, and that you literally have the name of God literally written in the
Yes.
cell. So they,
Yahweh.
yeah, yeah.
YHVH.
Yeah, it's just that the last one is a little different because of the carbon is what makes it different because it's more dense. But
Yeah.
and the Yahuwah version of the elements is more on the spiritual side. But they show it in the book that here's what each letter means. Which letter is oxygen, which letter is nitrogen, you know what I mean? So there's a whole nother field that I would love to explore, that neuroscience type of physiological type of expression of these letters, because it's connected. You just got to do the studying. But
Yeah, that's what I'm reading in my book right now about the spirituality of children because they stay in theta till age 7,
oh,
and about unity, oneness, and just sitting there and talking about
mm,
how we're all connected,
wow.
that innocence of a child.
So the
It's
theta, so the theta state does what again? What does the theta?
theta state is Earth's natural frequency, the Schumann
Mm,
resonance. It's literally the heartbeat of Earth.
wow,
Yeah,
wow. And then imagine going through trauma and all the stuff that many of us go through while in that state, and then
disconnects,
it dis.
rewires. It's the reprogramming. And
Mm,
the Hebrew language is beautiful. It's it's got so many layers to it as well
oh
because
man,
the
I'm
shapes
still
have
learning.
changed so many times. There's the
Mm.
what was the original name of God too? I just
You talking about
I,
Yahuwah?
no, no. Ahaya, Ahay.
Yeah,
Ahaya was the
I've heard of that
original.
term. Some
You
people have
have.
difference of opinions on which one is but Ahaya, yes, I've heard that
Yeah.
one. Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that depends on how far back into the Hebrew language you go. I've heard different
Mhm.
things about Yahweh, from the way that it was described as being a dragon, like the Hebrew
Yes,
original God, the one that asked people to sacrifice their children and stuff. But then I've
yes.
also heard a different perspective of it's the breath of life, because if you breathe, you're actually saying, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard. It's interesting. I haven't heard the Yahweh one in terms of the breath. I've heard the Yahuwah one, like Yahuwah. Like
That's
I've heard
awesome.
that one. So I
Yeah.
know the Yahweh one is more connected to me personally, I don't use the Yahweh term. I use the more I want to say Paleo Hebrew or the I'm trying to remember which part it comes from, but yeah, I learned that the Yahweh version is actually, or it's Yahweh, and the Jehovah versions are the ones that are not as authentic. But when you go into the Ahaya or the Yahuwah, which comes from the same Hebrew verbs that means to be, whether it's Yah or Ha-Yah, right, or Ahaya, they both all come from the same Hebrew verb or root word that means to be. That's where you get the I am who I am, or I am that I am. So I more so stick to those sides of expressing the God's name. So yeah, I
Language
just
is
want
an interesting one because
to.
it means different things depending on who you speak to. Like some
It's true.
people take it literally.
It's
I
true. Yeah.
remember having this conversation with someone, and they said being right doesn't necessarily mean the same thing to me as it would to you, because some people who are more literal thinkers. And then on a mushroom trip, I'm just kind of pieced the law of vibration, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm,
Language
mm-hmm,
may change its definition, but
mm-hmm,
vibration carries the intent embedded in the frequencies.
mm-hmm.
And
Right.
if we receive each other's intent, that
Mm-hmm.
trumps the spelling nature, because
Mm-hmm.
the more open and accepted uh, updated definition is, then it makes its way into the dictionary, right?
True,
So
true, true.
language definitions change over time, but intention, that
Is
that
all
carries. It
it
doesn't matter
carries.
what the definition is.
That's true. So that because even with that, then even if the so because even with the English language, they say it's a language of spelling, right? So even if from what you said, so even if the definition changes, the intent is still there, and I think that's why the English language can be so coded because you can be saying words that come from a certain intention, even though you might think of it as a different
Yeah.
like meaning, the intention I guess is still connected to the I guess that's what you're saying, right? That it's still
That's
connected
a,
to
that's exactly what I'm saying because
Mm.
in the original Bible it said fear the Lord your God and serve him
Yes,
only,
yes,
but
yes.
they also placed it as they polarized it, but then they put
Mhm.
fear in there too. So in the English language, fear means something completely different than it did in the original context,
It's
where
true.
it meant it as reverence, right? But if you take the English language, like what they do with the Hebrew, and you break down each individual
Yes.
letter has its own energy too,
That's where it
because
is. Yes.
H, the capital,
Yes.
quantum grammar has a different structure, but then again, it depends how far you want to go into it and people's intentions, right? Like when
Mm,
in common law, the small I, the lowercase I, people use it uh, in their law documents because it still has the head attached. The head is it's not a corporate I, it's still got the head, right?
mm,
So, but
mm,
the H, it's the infinity, right?
mhm.
But it's three lines, so you have the Trinity in there.
I didn't know that. Oh,
It's all about it's all sacred geometry, right?
geometry.
Because
Right,
at a
right, right.
subatomic level, everything is fractals. It's like a
Mm,
kaleidoscope.
mm. So you're saying even the English letters, also like the English A, B, C, D, all of those, you're saying they still carry um a energetic blueprint, if you will.
Yeah,
Because I know the English letters come from the Hebrew. They when they in terms of like the letter A comes from Alpha, the Greek, and Alpha comes from Aleph, which is in the Hebrew, but it's still carrying the intent, like you said,
yeah.
even though the letter A doesn't have a definition in terms of what it means. There's no meaning to the letter A, but it's still carrying an energy like the number one. Like it's still carrying.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what you're
just
saying.
just like how the frequency of form cymatics is the
Forbes, say that again.
cymatics. If you've ever seen those experiments that have the sand
Oh
vibrating
yeah,
on the
yeah.
resonating plate and it makes different patterns
Shapes.
depending
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that's how the ancients and the masons all built these massive like they don't build houses the same way they like look at Costco and all these huge super centers. They're flat. That's stagnating energy. But the cathedrals is based on the
Mm,
laws of energy with cathodes, right? Because they knew
mm,
how energy operated in
So
harmony.
they made it a certain way so that it would
Yeah,
facilitate the energy that was there. Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Because
Yeah, again, like when it comes to stuff like that, I that's where I don't know as much in terms of that area. I'm still learning or taking in as I hear it. So yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's
Mm,
they built churches originally on the ley lines of Earth,
hmm. Oh,
and
they did.
they were originally built as healing centers because a lot of the
The
organ pipes.
cathedrals? You talking about the
Well,
cathedrals,
the
like the Catholic?
cathedral's problem that's
Is that what you mean? Or which churches are you which the
well, all
cathedrals you're
churches,
talking?
but cathedrals specifically, there's so much wonderance behind how they were actually built. Even
Mm,
some of these stained glass, massive architectures, like
mm,
how did they build them? Because it was
right.
beyond the tools and technology they had,
Mm,
right?
right, right, right,
Even the
right.
pyramids, there's a lot of like
That
how
I
they
don't know
built
much
up.
about.
Because I've heard some crazy stuff like they
Yeah.
3D printed it.
They
It's
3D
limestone.
printed it?
Yeah, but it's limestone and granite. Come on, like
Or maybe they did 3D print it, but not in the way that we know 3D print. Like maybe there's a high tech, I don't know,
it's
high
it,
tech.
and that's the thing about just separating from the ego of the mind and just stepping into letting information flow. It's one
Mm,
thing that Tesla figured out that there's like a central core that of intelligence, and our mind actually downloads. It's a receiving computer
like the
of
brain, you mean?
yeah,
The
how it all works. I was watching a spiritual documentary on Tubi, and they're talking about the age of Aquarius and the thousand years of peace, and how there's these spiritual beings that are already creating futuristic food for our light bodies, like fruits that they're like
oh,
merging different kinds that don't
really?
exist in our dimension yet. And it's just like, whoa, it just opens up the mind
Really?
what is possible. Because
Oh, wow.
in the subatomic realm, everything that can possibly exist is already there. It just needs to be materialized and brought in to the
Right,
linear time based on the laws of manifestation.
right, right. So we're here to essentially bring in, because if everything already exists, we're just learning how to alchemize the different, I guess, energetic fields, if you will, and
Yeah.
bring it into whatever dimension that we're in. Like we're bringing it into, yeah, whichever one. Because I know we're going higher, but we're currently at in 3D, so we still have to.
Yeah.
I guess what you're saying, bring it in order to go to the next level is well, that's what I'm assuming you're saying.
So yeah, something I learned too was the fifth dimension. That's the dimension of heaven because in numerology, zeros not in Sanskrit, the original definition was cipher, so which meant literally any numeral. So
Mm,
zero is like the source of creation. If
source.
you look at it, like pi has no beginning and they've never found of all the calculations scientists have done, they've never found the final number of pi.
Right, right. It's
Because it's this,
constantly
yes,
going the decimal,
it's
constantly going.
infinite.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So one through nine are the numerology, right? And five is
Hmm.
directly, so five can see all the, it's perfectly centered. You can see every possibility, every perspective, which
Mm,
would make sense that we're going into the fifth dimension, which
mm.
is where heaven is.
And I think that's what, from what I read, that's what I think that's what Jesus was trying to bring everybody into from where he was operating, I believe. I'm trying to remember where I read where he was introducing the 5D way of thinking, or because you said it's heaven and you're saying it's heaven, right? So if he was because he used to say the kingdom of heaven is at hand, like he would say
Yeah.
it's meaning it's here, like he's trying to say we're bringing it here to us.
Yeah.
So I think he was, and I think that I heard where the fifth D is also connected to the heart or something like that, where there's some kind of a, I don't know, I can't remember where I read it, but there's some kind of connection from the
Center
heart,
mass. Yeah.
something like that. Is that, I can't remember where, but
Well, that would
is,
make sense too, because the heart is what creates our electro uh something I learned too. They
mm,
flipped everything, so I'll send you some information on this, but
please, yeah, yeah.
it's all based in Latin, so the electromagnetic, it's actually backwards because the magnetic field, our heart creates the magnetic field. The magnetic
Mm,
field is so powerful that it has the ability to restructure every single atom in
wow.
our body, which is why they say lead from the heart,
Mm,
because magnetics,
mm.
that's the feeling, that's the
And I'm thinking
power,
even
the
other
emotion.
scriptures, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if I'm generating, like you're saying, if there is generating everything to change all the atoms, then whatever I'm saying is changing based off of what is going on in that center. Okay. See,
Love.
I'm a listen, I don't know a lot of that stuff. I've tapped into some of those things, but I'm curious to learn more of how the spiritual works with the natural and the science, because there's a saying, this a book, I can't remember, his name is Dr. Kamene. I don't want to butcher his name, but he has a book that says spirituality is unseen science and science is seen spirituality,
Oh, that makes sense. Because they're trying
right?
to quantify the what can't be.
Yeah.
They're trying to
So
quantify the logical, what is known, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's saying the spirituality of things that you can't see, it's just unseen science. Meaning, so he's saying science, they're saying science and spirituality are of the same coin, just right. So if you understand the science, and I think that's what has happened in society, those that are controlling everything, is that they split science and spirituality. So you don't see the connections. So when you're in school and you're learning science, you don't really understand you're learning spirituality. But because you don't know how that relates to life, you're just saying, oh, these numbers, oh, this parabola, or oh, this whatever, or whatever. You don't know how it connects, But the two halves are married. They're one. So spirituality and science are in and of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think we just have to, once we learn to reconcile the two, then that's when, whew, that's when we'll be able to do the flying and the all
Like in
those,
the Matrix, yeah.
yeah, all
What
that
is
stuff.
possible when that's what marriage is, the unification of of the dualities to create the divine wholeness when people become whole. Two wedding
Mm.
rings create infinity, right? And if you look in the center of the
Ooh.
torus field, the toroidal field, or magnetic, the
Ooh,
heart
I didn't know
creates,
the
you
two.
actually have the Jesus fish, how it comes out in the
Oh,
center. So that's why
yeah.
the heart, creating the electromagnetic field, literally being powered by the sun, is our battery,
Oh, wow.
right? So
So when are you
connecting
writing
all
your
of
book?
this in the center, that's why Jesus said, like, no one knows when the kingdom is going to happen because it's an internal
It's
process.
internal, yeah.
Yeah.
So when are you writing your book?
Working on it.
When
I
are you
have
ready? When are
a bunch of organizing that I have to get done, so I'm
Yes.
gonna get around to that tomorrow or the day after, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to
yeah.
structure a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
No,
it's been on the back burner. I've been waiting for the right energy, and it's finally
yeah.
about time to get it done.
I feel that.
So
That's why I
yeah,
asked. I could
yeah,
feel that. It's time.
it's time. I've
It's
I've been wrestling with some
yeah.
personal stuff that is finally ready
Yeah.
to that's the split. There's like an internal split that's happening
Yeah.
where there's the old identity and then there's the new one. So I'm at that
Yes.
like uncomfortable, ready to
Same.
emerge. And it's
Same.
funny
Same.
because I was sitting in nature and there was a crayfish and a tadpole. Every
Hmm.
day I go, there's like different animals, so I'll always dive into the spiritual meaning of that. But that's crayfish. They're about transformation,
Mm.
and spiritual change.
Mm.
So you're feeling
I
that
see.
energy, eh?
No, I feel it. That's why I asked you. That's why because I can tell that it needs to be recorded. Like it needs to be put in a the I say it this way. The the letter bet, which is the second letter of the Hebrew, is a container,
Yeah.
right? And the whole purpose of a container, the spiritual technology of a container, is to nurture for
Oh,
manifestation.
interesting.
That's the whole purpose of a container. That's why the letter bet is also symbolic to the woman's womb, right?
Yeah.
So the woman's womb is the principle of manifestation. That whatever you put in there, it germinates, just like whatever you put in the earth germinates and becomes what it's supposed to be. So I think once you compact it into the container that it's supposed to be, that's when you'll see the germination and the transformation and the branches, if you will, start to connect because you're now creating a space to nurture what you've been nurturing inside. You're now
Yeah.
creating because think about it in the Bible. It says in Genesis chapter 1 verse 2, The earth was without form, void, and darkness. That was the space. That was the bet. That was the container, right? So, and then it says that the Spirit of God was within the container, and then boom, illumination, light formed in that container. And then that's when it began to shift and form and eventually created everything that we know today. So it's the same principle that we use for anything, relationships, spirituality, career, purpose, leadership. Doesn't matter. It's the same principle. So once you take, because you've cultivated it in the spacing of your mind, you now need to create the external container of what you've already
That's
done here.
interesting. Like we're uh, a soul that has a body, and a lot of people see it as a body with a soul, having that container. You've summarized it so beautifully because, and that's
Mm,
why uh, women, like from my understanding of the past, it used to be a matriarchal society where
mm,
women with their nurturing, because the portal, women literally are a portal for
literally.
souls into this dimension,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Source coding, if you will, or source energy is the feminine
Yes.
because the female can, because I'll say this and I actually have to run too, but I'll say this that the on the power switch,
Yeah.
you see the circle and then you have the line. So when the energy is off, it's on the circle, but the circle contains the energy. All of that energy of whatever that power is going to be directed towards is in it's being withheld. But once you turn on the power switch to on with the direction, you're now releasing from that pool or circle of energy. You're now releasing and directing that energy towards whatever. Like, so if I put in my charger, right? Once I put in the plug in the wall is the it contains energy, right? It's the circle. But once I plug in the masculine charger part, I'm extracting the power from the wall, the source, and directing it towards the charger, and that's where you get the let there be light. Boom,
And
right?
it's
So
got direction now too. Yeah.
but that's what
Love it.
happened. It's all interconnected. It
Mm.
trust me. So that's why I'm saying the Hebrew language for me is so imperative for me to see how everything in life is connected. Everything is it's connected.
That's amazing. I know you got to run,
Yeah.
so a couple last closing.
Hmm.
Uh, you said about your book. So if people wanted to get a copy of it, where would they look? And
Hmm.
what's some wisdom that you have for anyone watching this that
Hmm.
they could apply into their life if they feel stuck or lacking purpose?
Mm. So I'm currently um creating the link to get the book. So I'm almost done it. It's going to be book.activateyourname.com. That's going to be the link. I will send you I'll talk to you and send you when. Hello. Oh, sorry.
Still
Oh,
here.
my camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send you the link when it's officially ready, so that anyone that wants to get a copy, they can. So I'll let you know about it. But in terms of what I'll say, I'll just keep it, very simple. I would say, um, I'll start with the first Hebrew letter, Aleph, and keep it very simple. The first letter of the Hebrew Aleph teaches you to go inside yourself, to find yourself. So if you're lacking purpose or if you're lacking direction, it's because you haven't spent enough time with yourself. And I think that's the most scariest thing for people, to really pull down the layers, because you're it doesn't matter how much I say to you, it doesn't matter how much you say to people, it doesn't matter how much books you read, it doesn't if you don't go inside and see how that can transform you, you will always be in the same place at the same time. So my advice would be just to go inside, be honest with yourself, be open with yourself, And I think, and that's because that's what I did. I wanted to know more about the truth about God when I was a teenager. I wanted to know more truth. Okay, yes, I was in church, but I wanted to know more. And so I was open. I went through a lot because I was open. But I would just say just be open with yourself, be honest, and then write down what you really desire. Don't think about money, don't think about lack, or don't think about any of those things. Just really be honest with yourself, be open, write down what you want. And that's actually the seed, right? Once you write down the desire, that's the actual seed that you would need to become a tree for whatever dreams or goals you have. So that would be my advice for right now.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you so much for your time, Jordan Rose.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. Take
Bye
care.
for now.
All right.